he tells you you need a whole new engine, that's one thing. And then if he tells you, well, you just need a minor tune-up, you're like, whew. So this is a tune-up. All right. So Advent is a season of expectation, joy, and hope and peace. And this year, it started on November 30th. So we get for 4 Sundays going towards Christmas, and it ends on Christmas Eve. So Advent helps us to prepare our hearts for the celebration of the coming of Jesus, the Christ child, Christmas. For hundreds of years, Christians have used an Advent wreath or candles to inspire their hope for the coming of Christ. How many of you do the Advent wreath or candle? Okay, good. By lighting candles and recounting the Christmas story during worship and little services we can have in our home, we are reminded about the meaning of Christ's birth and become more excited about Jesus coming in the past and coming in the future and coming into our hearts right now. So, but most people unknowingly blend Advent and Christmas together. The time of preparation and waiting during Advent is forgotten. So I read an article by a man named Taylor Burton Edwards, who's a director of worship services somewhere. And he said, Advent time, a word coined, his own word. I looked it up on Wikipedia and Google, and there is no such word, so it's his word, Advent time. It represents the collision of 2 Christian seasons, Advent and Christmas, plus 2 other seasons that have little to do with Christianity, retail shopping and winter. The result of this 4-track train wreck is that 2 critical elements of Christian theology can tend to get wiped out. First, by the collision itself, and then by the overwhelming preponderance of noises, voices, songs, images, and inducements to have fun with friends and family, and to buy things. And those inducements are more plentiful than the attack ads that come through right before a political campaign. And I'm glad that's over. At least no one is calling me to ask me who to vote for at this time. When Advent begins, and even before in some cases, well, I have a relative, every year on October 1st, I get this email, well, Christmas is just around the corner, and what do you want? What can I put on your list? October 1st. I found a sign that said, stop premature Christmas displays. It's really cute. Anyway, we start thinking about what we want most in the world, or what other people might want as a gift. And so the tradition of giving and receiving gifts can be overwhelming. For some people, the Christmas season has really become a time of rushing out and buying gifts for people. So, how many of you have your shopping all done? Oh.
How many haven't started?
How many have discovered shopping online? Woo! Okay. Or we can be overwhelmed with what to get other people. And we can become fixated on gift buying and the consumerism that comes with Christmas unless we make a little tune-up once in a while. So, speaking of being fixated, let's talk about little Ralphie. Our family has had a tradition of watching the movie A Christmas Story every year on Thanksgiving. Now, it all started about 13 years ago when my unsaved daughter got married to an unsaved man, and they started coming to our home for Thanksgiving. And so we were looking for something that would blend the 2 families, you know. They weren't looking to watch anything about pilgrims, trust me. So he said, oh, you guys haven't seen A Christmas Story? And we said no. So we watched A Christmas Story, and then next thing I know, it's a tradition in our family to watch it. So, is there anyone here who's never seen it? Not yet. Oh, goody. All right, well, we have a little clip we're going to show you of A Christmas Story.
There it is. The holy grail of Christmas gifts, the Red Ryder 200-shot range model air rifle.
Ralphie, what would you like for Christmas?
Horrified, I heard myself blurt it out.
I want an official Red Ryder Carbine Action 2-inch range model air rifle.
Ooh.
No. Shoot your eye out.
Oh no, it was the classic mother BB gun block. You'll shoot your eye out.
BB guns are dangerous. I don't want anybody shooting his eye out.
Oh no. You'll shoot your eye out? My mother must have gotten to Miss Shields. There could be no other explanation.
You'll shoot your eye out! You'll shoot your eye out!
No! You'll shoot your eye out, kid. Merry Christmas. Ho, ho, Oh, it was beautiful. I can hardly wait to try it out. Oh my God, I shot my eye out.
Okay, that's good. Thank you, ladies, for watching that. Okay, so I just, so when I started writing this, I started Googling reviews of A Christmas Story. And every Christian site I got on, people were lambasting this movie. And I'm like, what? You know? Because it was part of our Christmas tradition. And so then I started looking at what they were saying and kind of thinking that there was a lot of truth in it. So I just decided that I was going to reevaluate a little bit. So A Christmas Story is more about our culture than anything. A Christmas Story is aired on cable television 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. It's TBN if you don't know. For several weeks before Christmas. And of course, that classic line is, you'll shoot your eye. Thank you. So Ralphie wants nothing more than the Red Ryder BB gun for Christmas. And then, of course, you know what Santa tells him. So Ralphie gets almost depressed that Santa would deny him the most sought-after thing a 9-year-old boy could want, a BB gun. So most adults are able to move past the dejection that occurs when we do not receive the perfect gift for Christmas. But do we really? Have we all experienced a little disappointment at not getting what we wanted? What I really want for Christmas is to attend the Christmas Eve candlelight service with all of my children. But I haven't got that yet. So, and I admit I'm disappointed. But I do have faith and hope it will one day come to pass. And as far as receiving the perfect gift, we've already received it. The perfect gift in the Son of God becoming one of us and coming to this unholy place to dwell among us. Hallelujah. So, A Christmas Story is the most popular Christmas movie of all time. I would have thought it was White Christmas, but actually it's this one. It does hold some nostalgia for me because I'm old. No, wait. It holds some nostalgia for me because of the attention to detail of the era in which I grew up. And in fact, we even use Lifebuoy soap. Have you ever smelled it? Anybody? Yeah. But the movie makes no reference whatsoever to what Christmas is really about. And there are a lot of curse words. Well, the father is a very angry and impatient man, played perfectly by Darren McGavin. The mother is a whiny, weak woman who tolerates sassiness from her children. And oh yes, even the children swear. The father swears, and then of course there's that leg lamp. It's interesting to me that this movie crept into our holiday tradition in my house as I was simultaneously growing stronger in the Lord. But I willingly overlooked some of the worldliness in it in order to find a middle ground for my blended family. Now, the first time I saw it, I was taken aback a little bit, and slowly I became very insensitive to its uglier parts. So we can slide into the worldliness of Christmas sometimes without even giving it much thought. I know, I sure did. And now this is from a mom who at one time banned Santa from our home when the kids were smaller. We'll talk more about that later.
Might you have to give up my leg lamp that's in my front window?
Absolutely not. No way. You don't have to give
I'll
up your
take it.
stand either.
I just want to make sure I don't have to leave now.
No, I love it. I have a picture of it I could put up there. I took one.
I got the big one in our
I know, I saw it. Love it.
Oh,
Yeah. No giving up our leg lamps. Okay. So, truly, what does it say about our culture and the world we live in that this Christmas Story movie, which says nothing about the real reason for Christmas, is the most popular Christmas movie of all time? So, whatever possible positive qualities it does have, and there are many, they are marred by the absence of Jesus. And there's also a subtle implication that children are smarter than their parents, which I think is a universal truth, that they think that. It does leave a record of America that no longer exists. Some of us older ladies can remember taking our kids to stand in line for Santa, and then we would go do a little Christmas shopping. You can't do that in today's world. Does Santa even come into a department store anymore and kids wait in line to see him?
Yes.
Yeah? Oh, good. Okay. So, I miss God jokes. I might still watch a Christmas Story movie with a blended family, but my kids are in their 20s, and we believers will also watch the Nativity Story, observe Advent, and read the Word to remember what we are really celebrating. But then again, this is what the Lord says. These are the Lord's words. Romans 12:2, do not be conformed to this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind, that by testing you may discern what is the will of God, what is good and acceptable and perfect. So there's so many family-friendly movies out there, beautiful movies for us to watch and enjoy at the Christmas and Advent seasons with their family. One I especially love is called Santa and Pete. So I got this from Featured Films for the Family, which is where I bought almost all the movies my kids watched. It's called Santa and Pete, and it really is the legend of St. Nicholas, and it's about giving, and it's an excellent movie. And I do think that you can watch it on YouTube for nothing, for free. Then also remember that you can look out Plugged In, which is the Focus on the Family website, and then the Christian Movie Guide are great resources to find family-friendly Christmas movies. And this is rated PG, but I think that rating went back years ago. I don't know if it would be PG now or not. Is there something between PG and R? No, PG-13. It might be PG-13. Okay. So I'm not saying don't watch A Christmas Story. I'm saying let's not let it be the only movie that you watch to celebrate Christmas. Let's put some real quality, wonderful movies in here. Now, we do have a list of movies somewhere that I sent over. I can email it to you if you want it. Let me know of movies that you can get from Featured Films for the Family that are just wonderful. Just a reminder that Christ-centered activities during Advent can help us stay on track with the one to whom Christmas really belongs. So one tool that I've used to focus more on him and less of me through this season is the Psalms reading schedule. So I had written in my script here that this came from Sylvie Lang when she did the Ladies' High Tea in '06. And then Janet was so humbly, when I sent it to her, she said, well, actually I did that. Thank you, Janet. So Janet made that psalm reading list for the Ladies' High Tea in '07. And I liked it so much that every year I change the dates on it and use it. And I found that if I stayed focused on those psalms, it really helped me, avoid going to Kohl's and stuff like that too much. It's very good to keep it centered on Christmas. Now, an interesting thing, though, is that Sylvie Lang, when she came and spoke to us back then, told us that her uncle Uncle Hugh, had written the song, Have Yourself a Merry Little Christmas, before he was saved. Did anybody remember this besides me? Yeah? Vaguely. Yeah, oh good. And then, good. So after he got saved, he changed the words to Have Yourself a Blessed Christmas. So I'm just saying that we can do the same thing. We can replace some worldly traditions that we have. In and focus on Advent, which has not been hijacked by the world. And renew our minds with the Word of God. And we can tune up our discernment for what movies are less worldly. Now, another one I really like is on the Hallmark Channel. And most of those Hallmark Channel movies are pretty nice. One is called Borrowed Hearts with Roma Downey. She's the one that did Touched by an Angel. And then I think later, didn't they do a Jesus movie? Yeah. It's a cute story about, a boss who owns a factory who's completely worldly, and he has to borrow a wife, or pretend he has a wife for a business deal, and then, the inevitable happens, they fall in love. But it's a really sweet movie, Borrowed Hearts. So, just to finish up about movies, 1 Corinthians 10:23. All things are lawful, but not all things are profitable. All things are lawful, but not all things edify. So when we choose our entertainment for Christmas, let's just focus on edifying things to help us stay centered on whose Christmas it really is. So now, another popular topic that gets tossed around this time of year is that Christmas is celebrated on December 25th because it replaced pagan festivals that were formerly held around that date in the Roman Empire. So while historians have debated whether this is actually the case, it was nevertheless a common practice for the early church to repurpose secular events, structures, and ideas towards Christian ends. So I was reading this article that said, so should we celebrate Christmas because of its pagan origins originally? Well, should we use a calendar? The calendar has the same origins, and so if we're going to throw out one thing for that, there's a whole lot of other things that we have to throw out. So I'm keeping Christmas. I don't know about you. Ironically, as Christmas has evolved, particularly in the West over the last 100 years, the exact opposite that the early church wanted, which was to blend the Christian with what was going on in the world, the exact opposite has happened. And what was once a Christian holiday has become a largely secular, tinsel-laden, materialism-gorged monstrosity. The world has taken Christmas and made the celebration its own, and tragically, many of God's people have bought into this perspective in a major way. So, how easily I brought Santa back into our home and started watching more secular Christmas movies like Elf, which I really like Elf. The Santa Claus, Tim Allen, But the one I think I will DC after researching and doing this is National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation. I think that one we won't show anymore. So I was out shopping one day, and I found a Christmas ornament that showed a kneeling Santa in front of the baby Jesus. And that's when I brought Santa Claus into our home. And my kids would understand that Santa would worship Jesus. Oh, another movie I forgot to mention that I would have a hard time giving up is Christmas with the Cranks. It's just hilarious. But each movie that I do watch now, I have to tune up a little because I've kind of slipped, and so maybe this whole talk is for me. Anyway, but this slip shouldn't surprise us because from the days of Adam, it has been a common practice of our sinful human hearts to take a good gift from God and turn it into a form of idolatry. So am I saying we shouldn't watch these movies? No. I'm saying we need to wake up and be sure our Christian roots remain in our family traditions and outweigh the worldliness around us. Now, having discussion questions after watching a movie like Elf or The Santa Claus or Christmas with the Cranks, I don't know if I'd show that to the little kids, but it's a great way to do this. Well, now, where did you see some selfishness in Buddy? Well, what about Buddy's papa who raised him? He was an alien and he raised him. Is that a good thing? So there's so many great discussion questions that we can ask our families when we watch these movies to help them to discern, to get wisdom and discernment from watching these things. All right, so now we're moving on to music. Okay, we've done movies, and what else do we do? Now we're going to do music. So the removal of Christ from Christmas is echoed to a degree in our modern holiday music. So as the Christmas has become more secular, so have its songs, with religious and spiritual components replaced with Rudolph, sleigh bells, and Santa. And I was surprised, listening to K-Love the other day, that even they were playing secular Christmas songs there. So many people do feel that the true essence of Christmas has been lost. And so this can be reflected about the outrage that came along when Target said that they were holiday trees. And the Christians were like, wait a minute, they're Christmas trees. So there's a lot of us that, have this feeling. But don't you suppose that the board members of Target and Walmart and Home Depot had these discussions of whose Christmas is it? So if you look at a list of more popular Christmas songs, you will find that the writers are disproportionately Jewish. So here's the Christmas songs were written by Jewish men. White Christmas, the Christmas song, chestnuts roasting on an open fire. I was going to sing these, but I have mercy on you. Let It Snow, I'll Be Home for Christmas, Silver Bells, Santa Baby, Rudolph, Winter Wonderland, and the perennial and beloved songs, but none of them have Christ in them. So should we stop singing them? No. But should we bring the Christmas carols into our Christmas music and teach them to our children? Absolutely. It's difficult to see religious tradition eroded in the name of political correctness and marketing and further disintegrated by a worldly embrace of our sacred celebration without a sense of what it truly means to us, the faithful. Now, this is the true confession time, and it's not Celebrate Recovery either, but some people here know that I'm a fan of Korean drama. And I watch it exclusively. I don't watch anything else. And the reason for it is because it's clean and it's well done. I dare anybody to say they also watch it. We'll talk later. Anyway, so many of those in Korea, there's primarily Catholicism and Buddhism represented in their television. But in all of the homes, whether they're Buddhist or whether they're Catholic, they have Christmas trees and they do Christmas celebrations and they do Christmas gifts. They just do it in Korean. But they do it. And then I have a Jewish friend that puts up 3 decorated holiday trees a day after Thanksgiving. And then what does that beautiful Christmas tree ceremoniously decked in Rockefeller Plaza have to do with Jesus coming? So, is it wrong? No. So I started looking at the meaning of the Christmas tree, and I thought for sure that it would go back to Martin Luther. But if you read about it for a while, like I did, it doesn't. But what we do know is that the evergreen is a symbol of rebirth and has been for centuries. And we do know that putting lights on the tree helps us remember that Jesus is the light of the world. So the star on the top of the tree can help us remember the Star of Bethlehem. And so with our Christmas tree, we have opportunities to teach our younger people about the meaning of the evergreen and the lights and the star and why we do these things. Okay, so I looked up my other favorite source, Wikipedia, the definition of Christmas, and it literally means Christ's Mass. And in this definition of Christmas that I read the other day, it says it's an annual, religious, and cultural holiday commemorating the birth of Jesus Christ. Christmas is a civil holiday in many of the world's nations, and it is celebrated culturally by an increasing number of non-Christians as an integral part of the Christmas and holiday season. So then, I have this, because I homeschooled my kids, I have this, a lot of homeschoolers will have this book, great big dictionary, this big 1828 American Heritage Dictionary definition, written by Noah Webster. And we keep it because we get to see how our culture has changed between 1828 and today by looking at the definitions of the words. You can probably figure out which the first word I looked up was to see what it meant. Okay, which means happy in that book. And in the modern dictionary, it'll give you many different definitions of that word. So, what does that book say about the definition of Christmas? In 1828, this is what it was: a holy day or feast, the festival of the Christian church observed annually on the 25th day of December in in memory of the birth of Jesus. Okay, so, excuse me. So do we stop listening to fun songs like the Carol of the Bells or Grandma Got Run Over by a Reindeer, my personal favorite? No. Do we teach our children the beloved Christmas carols that contain the gospel? Yes. Just think about that one, God rest ye merry gentlemen. That is one of the most evangelistic Christmas carols out there. And you get all kinds of people to sing it at Christmas time. So when you're out there caroling with people and they're doing Silver Bells and Rudolph, then you just start singing God rest ye merry gentlemen, and other people will join in with you and they know the words. And then, of course, the all-time favorite Christmas carol in the world is Silent Night. What'd you say, Kate?
I said away from nature.
Silent Night. So, it's a good thing to go to Christmas concerts with sacred music also, to kind of counterbalance what's on the radio all the time. There's a radio station that plays Christmas music 24/7 too. Okay, so on some level we do understand the spirit of comfort and joy, security and peace in the season as a universal longing for all men. As a seriously backslidden believer in my 40s, I still long for the peace and joy and the spirit of Christmas that came in December. We can truly see why it happened, and then we can see with that longing in people why the vast consumerism aspect took off. Because the people who do the selling and the buying and the pushing all have the same longing for peace, for salvation. So why has all this happened? Why has Christmas been train wrecked? Why? Well, I think this is the answer. 2 Timothy 3, 1-5.